Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Just Another 20-something with me, Marissa. Hello, it has been a hot minute since I feel like I've really sat down and chatted with y'all. And I know that seems stupid because you listen to me every Monday, so you're like, what do you mean? You're here every week. Well, I've been actually doing very good at planning out my episodes and doing them far in advance. So I actually haven't sat down and chatted with you in a moment. So I'm excited to kind of just have a sit down talking episode. These are some of my favorite ones because I get to just ramble on about random thoughts in my head, which was kind of the main reason on why I even started the podcast. So going back to my roots, as they say. But today we're going to talk about the truth about life after college. And obviously, before I get into it, this is not everyone's reality. This is really just what my life has been like after college. And I know that probably some of my friends can relate, probably not all of them. Same with you guys, even if you're not friends with me, you probably can relate, you probably can't. And I think that's okay. Everyone has their own different experience about it. But I wanted to talk about mine and all the crazy things that can come from life after college, or basically just life as a young adult, and how hard it really actually is. But before I get into that, I thought I would give you all a little life update. Just a teeny tiny little life update. So I wrote down little things that I could talk about: work, friends, fam, health, what I have been up to. So honestly, what I have been up to is work. I literally have just been working, which is good. I mean, like, before I wasn't working, and so I was doing nothing, and so now I'm working, and that is it. I really am enjoying my job, though. We can get into my work life update. My job has actually been super amazing. I'm not even gonna lie. I've been really loving every minute of it. Of course, there's hard times. Like sometimes I'll have a weird customer or, just like a weird experience. But for the most part, truly, everyone that comes in is so nice, and they just receive me really well. And they're like, oh, she's very nice. And so we just get along really well, and we just have a great shopping experience, and it's really cool because my title is a stylist, and so I literally get to just put people in cute clothes and tell them that they look amazing, and then they're like, thank you. And that's literally my job. I get paid to do that, so I'm like, wow, that's pretty freaking amazing. So yeah, I've been loving getting to know my coworkers a lot more. They're all so amazing, truly. Like, they're such nice, genuine people, which I remember when I interviewed for this place, I was like, Jesus Christ, why are these people so freaking nice? Like, I feel like I'm going to be the new bitch in the house, even though I'm not horrendously bitchy, but it's still, it was a little intimidating, but no, I've been getting more and more comfortable with everybody, and it's been super, super nice to get to know everyone more on like a deeper level. And now, because when I was hired, we still were kind of short team members in my little Silverdale team. And so now it's grown so much, and we have all the people that we need in our little group. And so our team is fully finished, and I just really love everybody. It's really, really great. And I've been doing good at work, which is also great, because we do a lot of tracking of our numbers, which is obviously something I am not used to. So I am proud to say that I've actually been doing kind of good. So yay for me. Of course, sometimes it's a little intimidating because like this last week, I had a really good week, like a really, really good week, which yay, go me. But at the same time, I'm like, oh God, I hope they're not disappointed if my next week is not good. But I know I can't think like that. I just have to go in every day being like, hey, today's going to be a good week just because I said it is. So I'm trying to keep that mindset, as we talked about multiple times. And now that I know that it is because of my Capricorn rising. We know that I'm very hard on myself. And so I'm trying to get out of that mindset as much as I can. But it is very hard and difficult. But anyway, no, we're doing good and things are positive. Friends are doing great. I actually got to see some of my friends up in Bellingham, which was super, super nice. We all kind of like talked about it and felt comfortable to see each other during this time, because obviously things still aren't amazing with the pandemic, but since most people are starting to feel a little better with the vaccine, we felt like it was an okay time for me to come up. That house is actually all fully vaccinated, so it's truly just me, me with my little germs. But we all felt comfortable and decided to make that decision, and it was really nice. I cannot even begin to say how much I really needed to get out and like be a young adult again and not be living with my parents. Sorry, parents, if you're listening to this. You're probably not, because I know my mom has said that she isn't caught up on every video. But it is hard to live with your parents. And technically, I'm not even living with my parents. I'm living with my mom and her boyfriend, and that is a lot. Let me just say, it's when you had 4 years of not living with them and then now you do, it's a lot. And you know what? I'm going to get into that later, so I'm not even going to talk about it now. But yeah, it was good. It was good to get out and see some friends and just literally be hanging around people my own age and doing things that we would be doing. And it just kind of felt more like normal life. And so I'm hoping that soon, you know, we're going to be getting to that place. And I'm excited for the future with that. Family's doing good. Don't even really have any updates on that. We're all just working and kind of hanging out. There's not really too many updates. My health is doing pretty good. The only reason why I put health is because right now, my mouth is kind of hurting. And if you know me, like if you are my friend or family, you know that I have weirdly a lot of mouth problems. That sounds so weird. But I've been having a lot of problems with my wisdom teeth, and I think I need to get my wisdom teeth pulled out. I was really, really trying to avoid it. I was like, no, it's fine. And I always had the excuse of like, oh, but my dad still has his. I just talked to him. He got his out just recently. And I was like, what? No. Like, you were my saving grace. Now I have to get them out. And yeah, I've been having a lot of problems with them in the last year. Like, it'll just start hurting because I think they're like, you know, pushing their way through. And if you look at them, you know, you wouldn't see any problems. Like, they look fine. They look like they're coming in straight, but they hurt. And so I'm like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't have to keep dealing with this like every 6 months or to a year, this weird pain that I'm feeling. Maybe it's not worth it. So yeah, I think we're going to be making a dentist appointment for my future. We're kind of hoping for more of the summer. Like, I would love to go to the dentist after I'm vaccinated, just because, I don't know, we've just had a lot of weird breakouts at the dentist office around me of COVID outbreaks. And I'm like, you know what? It just makes me a little nervous. So we're going to try and do that in the future. But yeah, so I guess that's just my little life update. Let's get into today's topic, life after college. So I only just recently graduated from college in June, which now is upcoming a year, which is actually disgusting to think about. It has not felt like a year at all, but that is mostly just because of COVID, as we know. So yeah, life after college is not really what I expected it to be. And it's so disappointing because I want to be like, oh, because I don't know what life would have been like if it wasn't with this pandemic, you know? Like, I can't really imagine it really being that different just because, let's be honest, I was a poor college student. There was no way that I was really going to like move off with my friends right away. Like, unless I got a high paying job just straight out of college, which could have happened, but it also could have not. So it's like, I don't really want to blame my whole experience on COVID. Obviously, a lot of it has been affected because of COVID, but I feel like the trajectory of me moving home was probably always in the cards, like knowing me. I think that's what was kind of happening. So, yeah, so you move home. We can get back into it. You move home after living on your own or with roommates, for 4 years. And let me just say, when we moved out, like when I was freshman, and we moved out and lived on our own in the dorm rooms, I honestly adjusted very well. And I will say there were a lot of weekends when I would go home. So obviously, like, I was feeling pretty homesick. But, like, in the grand scheme of things, I never really had, like, this big breakdown of I need to move back home. I need to be home. Like, I enjoyed my college life a lot. I liked living in the dorms. I liked being on my own. I actually adjusted really well considering, because like when I was 18, or I guess I was 19 when I moved in, but 18, 19, I was still like, I was starting to come out of my shell, but nowhere to where I am today. So I'm trying to think, like, why was she so confident back then? But somehow she was, and she was ready to be on her own and really blossom. So good for her. Talking about it like it's not myself. But yeah, so I adjusted really well. So having to then, again, like I said, go back home and not be able to see your friends, and not everyone lives right next to you, and you don't have school anymore. You have to like figure out life. Oh my God. It was a huge transition. And I think, like, I don't know, I feel like people don't really talk about how big of a life transition this is, that, like, life after college, because truly you are never going to be, I mean, in most cases, you're probably never going to be a student again. Like, you're officially done. Obviously, some people go to grad school or, get their PhDs or something like that. But not everyone does, and not everyone goes to college. So it's like, after this, you're pretty much done. Like, you need to start being an adult. You need to start paying taxes. You need to start getting a job and blah, blah, blah. So I was not really ready for that, really at all. And especially with the pandemic, I think my whole, like, thought process of getting a job was so shattered. And I was feeling really, really unconfident and anxious. And I feel like there's 2 reasons for this. One, again, the pandemic. I'm going to blame everything on the pandemic, sorry. But another reason, which I think is also not talked about a lot, was I was on birth control, and I feel like my birth control really, really affected me, because now I'm not on birth control and I feel so completely better, like, mindset-wise. So I was anxious all the time the second that COVID hit and we had to be locked down, which again was the exact same time I started this birth control. So it's hard to say. I truly have no idea. But so once we had to start doing everything online, I just lost a ton of confidence in myself and my abilities. And so when I graduated, I was not in the mindset to look for a job at all. I was super, super nervous. And I remember, like, I was looking back and reading my journals from college, and I would talk about that so much. I was like, I have no idea what I want to do. Everything in life is scary, and I can't even fathom trying to make a decision. Like, I was struggling. Like, I was struggling really bad. And I think I just really wasn't confident in myself or my abilities to really do something work-wise, because, like I kind of told you guys before, I've never really had, like, a huge big job. Like, the job that I have now is my first big girl job, and some people might not even consider it a big girl job, but, like, it is for me. Like, this is something that I've never done before. And so I think I was just really struggling with the fact that I was like, okay, I have to like be this adult. I have to make this decision. I need to work at a company, and I need to, like, I just don't feel like I was ready. And I think that is so normal for not just me to be feeling that. Like, I know other people who have felt the exact same way, where it's like, yeah, that is a lot to then all of a sudden be in the working world. Because even if you did have a job, let's say in high school or college or whatever, most likely that job wasn't this like, big corporate position. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But, most jobs for young people are like pretty basic, simple, like either in the food industry or retail or, something like that. And then when you graduate, you're kind of like going into the field that you got your major in, maybe not every person does that, but you know what I mean. So I think it's not crazy that a lot of people kind of have those same thoughts of like, oh shit, I now have to be like this businesswoman in the business world and I'm not ready. And it's like big, big, big girl job. Like no more little play jobs that we kind of did for funsies for extra money. It's like I now need to make an income so I can support myself kind of situation. And I was just not ready for that. I was not ready for that at all. Again, I don't know if that was because of the pandemic. Like, was I really hurting because of that? Or was I just going to do the same thing even if there wasn't a pandemic? Honestly, in my solid opinion, it sounds like I wasn't ready at all. I mean, in my journal before the pandemic happened, I was already pretty fearful. So I think that's something that isn't really talked about very much. Yeah, so that kind of leads me into this other point where you're still a baby, but now adult. It's literally how I have it written. Because when you do start your work life, you are still the bottom of the barrel. You are most likely the youngest person there because you're going to be 22 or 23 and you don't know anything about anything because, again, this is your first real job. You've never done this before. And so you're kind of starting over again. Like you still feel like this child who doesn't know anything about anything. And it's so intimidating. Like I hate that feeling of being like so incompetent and so young. And I know that everyone goes through it and blah, blah, blah. But it's like, damn, that is not a fun feeling. It's just not a fun feeling at all. And you wish that you could just be on par with everyone else. But unfortunately, that's just it's not the dealio. But also what plays into the still being a baby is, again, living with your parents. Like if you have that situation where you have to move back home and you get a job, but it's like, oh, but like, yeah, I'm like this big grown adult, but I still live with my mommy and my daddy. Like, it just kind of takes away all the freedom, all the independence, and you just feel like you're in high school again. Like I have talked to multiple of my friends that it feels like we just like went straight back into our high school selves, because that's what we knew when we were living with our parents, was our high school selves. And let me just say, I wasn't expecting that to happen either, because I thought it was just going to be like, oh, la-di-da, like I'm moving back home, but it's fine because I went home for like vacations or, breaks and stuff. No, you completely revert back to your high school self, because guess what? You're back in your hometown. You're probably running into people from your high school or your middle school or whatever. And let me tell ya, that sucks. That sucks really bad, especially if you didn't have a super great experience. And I didn't even have a bad experience, but I'm still like, oh, I do not want to see these people right now. And so, yeah, just moving back home, people don't talk about enough how weird it is. And I think that's obviously a very much American culture thing, because tons of other cultures, they live with their families, not even something that phases them. But in America, we don't do that. And let me just say, I'm kind of glad that we do eventually move out of our homes, because I don't think I could live with my parents for the rest of my life. Like having my partner move in with me and like we have children, that's just, with my parents around, no. Sorry, no way. Anyway, so all this is happening. You're this fresh baby adult, whatever. Now you have to also deal with long distance friendships, because guess what? Maybe not everyone else moved home. Maybe they did move out and go somewhere else. Maybe they still live in your college town. Maybe they moved across the country, went to a different country. Like, who knows? Friendships are now starting to go all over the place. It is no longer 10 minutes down the road. You're going to meet them at the library to study, and, like, that's your life. And that was really hard too, because I was so used to seeing my friends every single day. And I'm a very social person. And so I thrive off of seeing people and talking to people pretty much every day. Of course, like, I have my moments where I need some alone time, but, like, truly, I want to be with my friends probably 24/7. Even if they don't want to see me, I'm going to see you. But truly, that was a huge adjustment, because, again, I just went back to, like, oh, it should be fine because I went home for breaks and I didn't see them all the time. Nope. Again, because it's just like, it's not a break. You're not going there for a month and then you get to go back with living with your friends. You are going to be here for the foreseeable future. You have absolutely no idea when you are going to be leaving again. So that's a fun little fact that pops into your head. And dealing with faraway friendships is really, really hard. And sometimes those friendships kind of die off. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Some of mine have, because you have to put in a ton of effort. And if you're not putting in the effort, or the other person isn't, or whatever, the friendship is probably not going to make it. And that has happened, like, a lot of my high school relationships kind of ended when we went to college, and, like, people started doing other things. Not all of them, which was great, but some of them did. And so that's kind of the same thing. And not only are you dealing with faraway friendships, but sometimes your friendships are totally changing. They're evolving and growing because everyone's starting to do something different. It's no longer like, oh yeah, we're all just going to school. Because for me and the high school that I went to, it was a college prep high school. So we were all pretty on the route to go to college. That was the main goal of this high school, was to get us ready for college. Did everyone go to college? Of course not. But, majority of our class did. So all of my friends that I knew were doing the exact same thing as me. We were going to college, and then we would graduate, and then it's up in the air. So pretty much every friendship that I've had, we were doing the exact same thing. We were going to grade school, we were going to high school, we were going to college. And so now it's like, oh, well, now what are you doing? It's like, oh, we're not doing the same thing? Like, that's weird. And it is weird. It's uncomfortable and it's weird, but it's also, a fact of life that your friendships are going to evolve and they're going to be different, but it doesn't mean you can't be friends, obviously. But you have to make more of an effort to be interested in the things they're doing, or vice versa. Like, it's going to be a huge transition. Again, more transitions. I think that's kind of the whole thing about life after college, is that you're never going to stop growing. Like, it's always going to be something different from now on, which is exciting, but also scary, obviously, because a lot of people don't like change, including myself. But yeah, so then going down my list after friendships, jobs. Kind of already touched on this. You're just this tiny baby in big girl jobs, and it's hard and it's scary. And I think what really, for me, weighs really heavily on the job is that, this is the thing that's going to support you, since we live in this capitalist country, that you need to be working, you need to basically work your life away. Otherwise, like, how are you going to live and survive? Which is terrifying to me, because I don't want my life to just be job. I'm going to be completely honest. I love, I think there's so many careers out there that are super fulfilling and awesome and great for people. And I'm not saying that I'm never going to be fulfilled in my career, but I don't want my life to be my job. That's just not what I want my life to be. Like, I have so many other interests. I would love to, have the job on the side, something that I'm passionate about or interested in, but I don't want my whole life revolving around that. But guess what? Again, we live in this capitalist society where that is not possible at all. I'm going to probably have to work till the day I die, and I don't want to do that. So, all the generations below me, please dismantle the government. Thank you. Thank you so much. Next. Okay, so next on that list is life milestones. So this kind of goes along with, like, the friendships, but also for yourself. Once you graduate college, it's now kind of like, okay, what's the next big thing? Like, you're probably, again, gonna get a new job. You might move. You might get married. You might have kids. You might get promotions. You might travel the world. Like, there's so many life things that start happening. And so I kind of separated these into two lists. So I have like a good things and I guess, bad things. And so the life milestones I put under both because I think you can easily obviously find the good in the life milestones. There's still so much life to be lived and so much is going to be happening. But at the same time, it's scary. And with society, you may think you need to achieve a life milestone way sooner in life than maybe you really need to. Like, let's just talk about marriage. I have never thought about marriage as much as I have right now. Not that I'm trying to get married at all, but just in the fact that everyone around me is thinking about marriage or is married or is dating and is, on their way to that. And so I was never around a group of people that ever really talked about that. We never were in that mindset at all, which is fine. And it's totally fine that other people are now in that mindset. But it's scary because I'm starting to feel that weird pressure of getting to that next milestone of, oh, I should be like engaged soon, even though I am not dating anyone and I'm not trying to be engaged to anyone anytime soon, like literally goodbye. But I think just life after college, everything goes really fast, especially in your 20s. And, people, like, there are so many people from my high school who are engaged or already married. There was just someone from my middle school who got engaged. Hello? That's not supposed to be happening. And yeah, I think that's the other thing. This can kind of go like, I guess it's like life after college, young adult, 20s, whatever. You just really get the pressure put on that you need to start finding someone and doing this big, huge thing, even though, like, what if marriage isn't, marriage isn't everything. It is for some people. It is for not some people, like, just because one person's getting married doesn't mean you need to get married and, blah, blah, blah. It's just scary. It's scary to now be in the place where everyone's kind of either following society's standards or having these big, huge life milestones. Maybe you're not even having a milestone yet. Maybe you're just kind of chilling. But then you see other people accomplishing all these things and you're like, oh, like it just makes you feel weird. Like you're in a weird zone of life where some of your friends are getting married and having kids. Some of your friends are like getting jobs and moving away. Some of your friends are doing fucking nothing. And they're literally vibing as they should. And it's like, where do you fit in? That's how I wanted to wrap that one up. Because it's weird. It's weird. Okay, next is how to maintain a work/life balance. This is hard. And this is something, again, since we're going to have to be working till the day we die, it's going to be something I'm going to be working on for the rest of my life. But me and my friends can all agree that, we've never really worked like this before. It was never like job. And so now that we do have this job, it's really hard to then like have that work-life balance because we have no idea what we're doing. And so when you have those days off, you're like, okay, how do I fulfill these days of not working? And I should be living it up to the fullest. But also at the same time, I'm exhausted because I've never really worked and now I'm working all the time and this is different and, all the things. Like one of my friends, she is exhausted with work. Exhausted because it's draining and she works at a really difficult place. I'm not going to disclose it, but it is very mentally draining. And she works 5 days a week. She only gets the weekends off. And it's like, okay, now you have the weekend. Should you chill and like regain like composure before the week starts again? Or should you take advantage of every weekend and be going out and doing things? And, it's so hard because it's like at one point you want to just relax. But then at the other point, you're like, I'm wasting my 20s. Which it's like, what the heck? Why are those the two options of I need to rest, but I'm also wasting my life away by working? And I hate that. And that's not the first conversation I've had with one of my friends. Like, it's happened with most of my friends that it's like, we feel like we're wasting our 20s by not necessarily by working, but just like, that's what our life revolves around now is work. And it's like, oh, fun. Great. And of course, I mean, with the pandemic, there's not really a ton that you can be doing anyway. Even if you have those weekends to go, like achieve the most, whatever, what are you going to do? I mean, seriously, what are you going to do? Everything's closed. You probably shouldn't be going to do things anyway, even if they are open. I'm saying that with a grain of salt because I'm not going to lie. I did do things this last weekend when I was in Bellingham. But, like, was that a good idea? Maybe not. Maybe it wasn't. And so, it's just hard. It's hard. That brings us to my next point. It's really hard. Literally just have that in all caps. It's just, I don't think people talk about it enough. I don't think people talk about it enough that life after college or life as a young adult, life in your 20s is hard. And we're also still like, we're just in the stage of still being so young and impressionable, and like our frontal lobes haven't even like been all the way formed. So it's like we're basically overgrown teenagers trying to make sense of things, and it's like we just can't. We just freaking can't. And so it's just difficult. But as I go on and on and on about all the bad things, let's discuss some of the good things that can come after life after college. So, you know how everyone says, oh, college is the best 4 years of your life. And I think they also say that about high school, which, first of all, ew. Why would they ever say high school is the best 4 years of your life? And then also, college? Absolutely not. But I think that's one of the good things that we can look forward to is that we still have the rest of our freaking life. I mean, let's say we all live till like 90. That's kind of a good age, maybe. I think want to die at 85. But that's just me. But let's say we all live till 90. That is, and people usually graduate college around 22. That is freaking, 68 years? Is that right? I don't know. 68, 58, whatever. It's a lot of fucking years, okay? We have a whole lot of time to be living. And I really, really, really don't think those 4 years in college are going to be the best years of our entire life. Were they fun? Sure. They also were still exhausting. We were working really hard to get an education, and that's not really a fun time either. And again, you're really young, and your hormones are all over the place, and you're emo, and there's so many other things going on. So it's good to know that even though, the few years after college are kind of hard, it doesn't mean it's going to be hard for the rest of our life. There's still so many things that are going to happen to us. We still have those life milestones to achieve and have in our life. And it's not going to all happen in our 20s. And I think that's good because we need to stretch it out. Because that's the other thing. Why do our 20s have to be the best years of our lives? Is it just because we're young? Like, why can't I be doing things when I'm freaking 60? And if I'm walking around and having a grand old time, I'm healthy, I hope my 60s are a really awesome year. You know what I mean? So let's try and think of it that way. Let's see. Yeah, so I wrote down so much life to happen, areas of growth. There are so many areas of growth that I personally need to go through. And so I know probably all of you also need to go through it. There's a lot of things that need to be done. And that's what is so great about life is that we're constantly growing. We're constantly learning and changing. becoming better people. And if it was just, again, just these next few years, then we would all be fucked. So let's not even think about it that way. And if you listened to the episode about astrology, you would know that when the return of Saturn hits all of us when we're about 29, 30, that's when we really become an adult. So it's truly okay. It is truly okay that life after college right now is weird because we're not even really adults yet. We don't even really have to think about anything because we haven't even hit our Saturn return yet. And thank God Sarah told me that because I am going to keep to it. Truly, when I'm 30, I'll be like, okay, now I need to get my shit together. Now I'm starting to become myself and whatever. I'm waiting until I'm 30. Right now, I'm just gonna have some fun. Just gonna wander around and do whatever. But yeah, I guess the moral of all of me just ranting was that life after college or life as a young adult is difficult. And I think us 20-somethings, we're going to have kind of a hard time adjusting. I know me and my friends are feeling pretty lost and feeling pretty scared, even in some of the moments where we feel like we have things together, like, oh, we have this job, or, oh, we have like this lined up, or we're going to this grad school, or, whatever. We still just have no idea what's going to happen. We're all just kind of like, we don't know where life is going to take us. And I think as time goes on, we're just going to feel more and more comfortable with the thought. Because, I mean, let's be honest, it's not like when we do hit 30, we still might not know where life is going to take us. Obviously, we can't predict the future. But I think we're just going to be more settled into adulthood and be like, yeah, you know what? I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm ready for it. And I'm excited and not so just nervous and anxious and like, At least that's what I'm hoping, because let me tell you, it's been nervous and anxious city over here. Even with now, like, I have my job, because I think what I was doing, truly, and maybe some of you guys, is you're like, okay, I just need to get a job and my life will be figured out. That isn't really true. Not gonna lie. I'm still like, I really don't really know what's gonna happen with my life yet. Like, I don't know where I'm going to end up. I don't know what I'm going to be doing forever. But it's like, also, why am I even trying to think about that? Just focus on the present. Focus on right now. This is what's happening. Try and just figure that out first. Okay? Anyway, okay. I hope this made sense. I hope you guys all could relate to all of the ramblings that I just went off on. This could have been terrible. I might need to re-record it. Who knows? But yeah, I hope you guys liked this nice life chat with y'all about kind of what I'm feeling with life after college and my little life update of right now in the present. And yeah, I will talk to you guys next week in a brand new episode. Bye.